Good evening, everybody. This is Rob Johnson with the Spotlight Media Network, coming to you from Louisville High School, as we are here for a special event tonight. Something really cool. It is the Louisville Speech and Debate Showcased, as we're going to showcase the best of what our Louisville High School speech and debate team has to offer, and gives the kids the opportunity to showcase their talents. So I'm going to take a back seat to the folks up top, and we'll get things rolling. So enjoy.
This year's president, and I'm here with Maddie Bigham, our vice president. Tonight we will honor 4 fabulous seniors, and we will recognize the 14 members of our state team. Tonight you will hear from these individuals as they prepare for the state tournament this weekend. Well, actually, we already went to the state tournament, that's our bad. There will be a wide variety of performances ranging from humor to drama and original oratories to debate. Explanation of the categories you will see tonight are on your tables. Please also see on the back of your programs our incredible local sponsors who keep our program going so successfully. A special thank you to representatives from sponsors, the Joseph A. Jeffries Company, Fulton Title, and Hideaway Buffalo Grill, who are joining us here tonight. Please support the businesses who support our program.
To be efficient this evening, our students will be delivering you dinner to your table throughout the first few speakers. We will also open up dessert after dinner service and dismiss you in groups or all at once, since there's not that many of you. Additionally, if you didn't get a chance to get raffle tickets for our raffle items and gift cards, please make your way back there at some point in the first few speakers, as we will pull raffle winners throughout the evening and our 50-50 winners at the end. Side note, I'm pretty sure we're just doing raffle at the end.
You may also notice the blue paper with questions at your seat. To help you be active listeners this evening and to create a little friendly competition, listen to fill in the answer for each presentation's question. We will collect those before the last speaker, and accurate pages will be in for a raffle of $280 for a day of winter fun at Snow Trails. With that said, we are ready to kick off our student performances. Feel free to laugh, clap, cry, and respond to our performers, and enjoy yourselves.
Our first performer of the night is Sabrina Capito in informative speaking. Sabrina is a 2024 junior who racked up top ranks and celebrated top 10 placements at almost every tournament this year. She has worked hard this year to earn the title of the first alternate to nationals, as well as a state qualifier. Here's Sabrina with her informative speech entitled Sleep Speech.
If there is one thing that I can say with 100% certainty, is that as soon as I get the opportunity, I will be taking a nap. Get home from school, I'm napping. Waiting for awards to start, I am snoozing away. On the bus, after tournaments, I am putting on a pair of fuzzy socks, wrapping up a blanket, curling up on that teeny tiny seat, and taking the most uncomfortable yet best nap of my life. Not only do I nap because, well, who doesn't love a good nap, but also because it has great benefits if done correctly. According to the University of Rochester, sleep can help reduce stress and can improve negative emotions as well as impulsiveness. Not only do I nap because, well, who doesn't love a good nap, but also because it has great benefits if done correctly. According mean, I don't even understand why I had a nightmare just last night that I was giving a speech in front of all my family and friends. Weird, right? While there's still research being put into things such as why we dream and why we spend so much time sleeping, research has been done to learn more about what happens during sleep and how much of it we truly need. So today, we are going to dive into learning the science and history behind what makes our bodies need sleep. Next, we'll examine what the healthiest way to sleep is and what happens when the right amount of sleep isn't achieved. Lastly, we will discover what it's like not being able to sleep normally and the ways people work around those disorders. In the last couple hundred years, there have been many theories about what sleep is and why we need it. Let's go back in time to 450 BC, when a Greek physician by the name of Alcmaeon had an idea about what sleep could be. According to his medical, Alcmaeon suggested that sleep was a spell of unconsciousness brought on by a lack of circulation to the brain. It took around a century later for Aristotle to suggest that sleep was caused by the heart having a seize of consciousness. The heart at the time was believed to be what controlled judgment and emotion. It wasn't until 162 AD that the brain was actually deemed the seat of consciousness. Fast forward to 1903, when the first sleeping pill named Veronal was developed. For the next 30 years, it was considered to be one of the United States' most abused drugs. Now that we have finished our chapter about the borderline fables of the past, we can now continue our story into the more scientifically backed theories of the present. According to Hughes Medical, in 1925, a scientist by the name of Nathaniel Huygens discovered what's called rapid eye movement, otherwise known as REM. The Cleveland Clinic teaches us that brain activity during sleep can be placed into two categories that have predictable stages: REM and non-REM sleep. When you first fall asleep, you enter stage 1 of non-REM, which only lasts a few minutes, and people usually sleep the lightest during this stage. This stage only takes up about 5% of a night's sleep cycle. As your sleep deepens and you enter stage 2, through which you go through multiple times in a row, the brain slows down and has short bursts of energy. It is believed that the bursts are the brain organizing information and memories of that day. If you've ever seen the movie Inside Out, stage 2 of non-REM sleep is quite similar to the sleep where Joy sends off the orbs to be stored into Riley's long-term memory. Following the numeric pattern we created, stage 3 is next and takes up approximately 25% of the average adult sleep cycle. Stage 3 is a time when the body has the ability to repair injuries, and you need this stage to occur, otherwise you will wake up feeling tired and drained no matter how long you have slept. If you wake someone up during this stage, it is likely that they will still feel a sense of tiredness and may have sleep inertia, otherwise known as brain fog. After that, you begin to dream as you enter REM sleep. REM, or rapid eye movement sleep, is where dreams most often occur, and brain activity during this stage has been shown to be quite similar to that when someone is awake. Once your REM stage is complete, you'll begin a whole new cycle as you enter back into stage 1 or 2 of non-REM, which starts the process over. Each cycle can last anywhere between 90 and 120 minutes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why does rapid eye movement even matter when I don't even know how much sleep is healthy in the first place? Before you go and start falling asleep on me, I'm not going to give you some fancy dictionary definition of how much sleep is healthy for you, because there are so many different things to consider when thinking about how much sleep is actually good for you. The broadest and most well-known factor that people often think about when determining the appropriate amount of sleep is a person's age. The National Sleep Foundation expressed that there isn't an exact amount of sleep in order to feel well rested, but there is a range depending on a person's age. As a person gets older, you require less amount of sleep. Newborns need anywhere between 14 and 17 hours, while children ages 6 to 13 only require about 9 to 11 hours to have the same results. Teens need about 8 to 10 hours, while adults only require about 7 to 9 hours of rest. Depending on each person's needs, the recommended hours vary. Other variables such as pregnancy, the quality of your nightly sleep, and if you've been sleep deprived, affect the suggested amount of healthy rest. There are negative effects on a person's body if the correct amount of sleep is not achieved. The American Heart Association states that if you cut your sleep hours short, most of what you've deprived yourself of is REM sleep. This can cause an interference with a person's ability to learn, their mood can be negatively impacted, as well as their memory. Not receiving the correct amount of rest can also cause sleep debt. According to the Cleveland Clinic, sleep debt is the difference between the amount of quality sleep you need versus the amount of quality sleep you actually got. This can create a feeling of tiredness and can affect the body's metabolism, which can in turn increase the body's odds of developing type 2 diabetes. Not only can a person develop diabetes from sleep deprivation, but other and sometimes more serious effects can take place. Some of these effects could include weight gain, high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, stroke, depression, and hallucinations. As much fun as that sounds, there are many reasons a person could or would not get the correct amount of sleep. I know I have trouble sleeping because I'm up late practicing my speech. At least that's what I tell my parents anyway. But there are sometimes larger problems than lying to your parents when you're actually binge eating Oreos and watching The Princess and the Frog on repeat. When someone isn't crying when a fictional firefly dies and becomes a star in the night sky next to the love of his life, there can be a larger problem that may need medical intervention. Insomnia, according to the American Sleep Apnea Association, is the struggle or inability to fall asleep. This can last anywhere between a few days and a few months. In order to counteract this disorder, someone with insomnia may be advised to create a regular sleep schedule or participate in cognitive behavioral therapy. On the flip side of this oh-so-fun sleep disorder coin, narcolepsy is defined by Mayo Clinic as the difficulty staying awake for long periods of time throughout the day. This means that a person could fall asleep suddenly, and this can oftentimes cause a disruption in the affected person's daily routine. Narcolepsy does not currently have a cure, but medications and changes of a person's lifestyle may alleviate some of the symptoms. Affecting around 30 million people in the United States alone, sleep apnea is caused by an interruption in the upper airway when soft tissue collapses during sleep. This may lead to lower levels of oxygen in the blood. This means that a person could awake suddenly, usually gasping for breath. Treatment is usually a device named nasal continuous airway pressure. This device delivers air via a mask that fits over the nose to make sure the recipient is sleeping without interruption. There are also disorders that may not directly cause the inability to sleep, but may cause difficulty staying asleep. Some of these disorders could include sleepwalking, night terrors, and sleep paralysis. With all of these disorders in mind, it could be difficult navigating daily life with a sleep disorder. People with these disorders may feel irritable and constantly struggle with poor concentration, cognitive functioning, and low academic achievements. Many may still struggle with their various sleep disorders, but seeing as sleep itself is still very much a mystery, there is still a lot of research and discoveries to be made in regards to how these disorders work and how to treat them. So today, we dove into learning the history and science behind what makes us sleep, as well as examined what the healthiest way to sleep is and what disorders could disrupt that pattern. We all have different needs in regards to how much sleep we require, but we all have one thing in common. We need it. It is important to learn what is known about sleep in order to learn how to become better at it. As much as I love a good mystery, this is a topic that we are constantly learning new things about. If I learned anything though, it's that a good pair of fuzzy socks and post-tournament exhaustion is a great combination for a great nap.
Next, we have sophomore Isaac Macbeth in humorous interpretation. Isaac has earned himself numerous top novice awards and top ranks in humor throughout the season. He also double entered as a novice, meaning that he competed in 2 categories in just his first year. The duo of Isaac and Noah Wolf earned the title of semifinalists at our 3 Rivers tournament. Here is Isaac with his piece, The Bible in 30 Minutes or Less.
In the beginning, there was a God. I'm God. God created the world in 6 days. Light, dark, done. Sky, water, done. Day, night, stars, galaxies, done. Make a man, your name is Adam. Done. And then he rested. Hard work, I'm taking a break. Adam got lonely, so God made him a friend, Eve. There you go. Eve took a walk. La 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 la. And ran into Satan disguised as a Satan! Then it made a spirit that even doesn't expect an apple. It's not. God doesn't want him to. Forget about him. Have a bite. Eve gave some to Adam, and God got angry and kicked them both out of the garden. Go! Let's take a poll. Who thinks my hair is way too long? Now, who thinks my hair is in style and the norm? If you raise your hand, you're not my family. But we can all agree on one thing in my family. Opening our Bible. Whether you believe the stories of the Bible or not, we can all appreciate a 783,137 word book shortened down to its best stories. Here is The Bible in 30 Minutes or Less by Anton Butzer. Or in today's case, The Bible in 10 minutes or less. Adam and Eve had 2 children, Cain, hi, and Abel. Hi. Cain killed Abel and died. Then everybody on the face of the earth was bad. This is a stick-up! Give me all your money! Haven't invented money yet? Then give me all your sheep? Everybody was bad, except Noah. I love you, God. God decided to start all over with the world. So Noah built an ark and put lots and lots of animals on it. Alligators, ibex, antelopes, lots and lots of animals. Then it flooded. And everybody who wasn't on the ark that day died. But then there was a rainbow. Pretty colors. Then the people tried to build a Tower of Babel. It will reach heaven. Well, God got angry and decided to make them all Babel. Abba-da-ga-da, dabba-da-ga-da, 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 ba-da. Ba-da? Wah-wah-wah-wah-wah. Ba-da. Wah-wah. Ba-da. Then came Abram. God told Abram, you're going to be famous and you're going to have lots and lots of kids. And I'm going to change your name. Make it Abraham. Abraham? That's not much different. Okay. Oh. Later, Sarah gave birth to a son, and they called him Isaac. Yeah, Isaac. Okay. God told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. Oh, was too much for the Pharaoh. Leave! So Moses took the children of Israel out of Egypt. Goodbye. Adios. Auf Wiedersehen. Pharaoh trying to revenge on his offer. I'll make them come back. I'll make them come back. He drowned after trying to cross the Red Sea. Where's the light gone? Next, the exciting book of Leviticus. Leviticus, the actual law that God handed down. Then comes the book of Numbers, where Moses led the children to the edge of the promised land, but they didn't want to go in. There's giants in there. So they wandered around the desert for 40 years. Has anybody seen my AAA card? That's the story of the prophets. There are 16 books of the prophets, and they do a lot of, well, prophesying. And since we said we would, here are all of them. Isaiah and Daniel, devoured by lions, Jonah swallowed by a fish, Ezekiel, Obadiah, Zephaniah, Zechariah, Malachi. That is the end of the Old Testament. How are we doing on time? 7 minutes gone by. Mark, Luke, John, same story, different point of view. In the last book is Revelations. I'm gonna come back and defeat Satan and I'll fight back, and you're gonna lose. I know. So is that it? Are we done? Did you know Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines? And he had to keep them all happy. Sol, can I get my hair done? Sol, let's go for a ride. I need a mani pedi. Rub my feet, please. Then the story of Job. Let's have a bet. Please, that guy. The Bible in 10 minutes or less.
Our next speaker is sophomore Micah Lowe. Micah has been a powerhouse of a competitor this season, champing 4 tournaments in international extemporaneous speaking and crowning himself 3rd in the state this season. Today, Micah will be reciting the speech that he gave in his final state round. How can Germany's next chancellor work to ensure that radical politicians don't gain power in government?
Today I ask you a very important question. Why is it still snowing throughout March? Don't get me wrong, I love winter. With December having Christmas and January having my birthday, winter usually symbolizes a time of excitement in my life. However, when winter is drawn all the way into spring, and snow continues to be a gross, wet, and muddy problem, my love for it continues to decline. When it comes to the snow, my grandma always had a very funny saying for people acting a little bit less than smart. She would always tell people, "You're acting dumber than a sled track." By this, she meant that even though it does have some imprint, by the time the snow comes, no lasting impression is left. Today, we ask ourselves a very important and chilling prompt, and any attempt to answer it so far have been proven as dumber than a sled track. Today we ask ourselves the question, how can Germany's next chancellor work to ensure that radical politicians don't gain power in government? Well, the key thesis of how we can do this is by having a neutral campaign statement, and we'll see why through 3 warming points of analysis. First, we'll examine how focusing on economic strife can gain him a lot of popularity. Then, we'll look at how physical and tackleable issues would gain him a lot of social strength. And finally, and possibly most importantly, by targeting social strife and garnering support, the new chancellor might be able to just push out these growing radical politicians, beginning with my first contention. Now don't get me wrong, as I said before, I love the cold, but one thing that has become increasingly polar is the economy. According to an article posted by the European Union's own team of economists on August 26th of last year, the entire world has been seeing a global economic slowdown. With more and more countries having less money, the article goes on to outline some of the countries most affected. Among these include the United States, Great Britain, and of course, Germany. With the world having less money, it's going to spark more and more debates among our people. How will it be best spent, and what aspects of government should this money go to? However, Germany can't just blame their economic strife on the rest of the world. This idea is contextualized in an article posted by Al Jazeera when it's on January 28th, when it stated that Germany is having a plethora of its own economic problems. It goes on to outline how Germany is having a housing crisis, rising interest rates, and overall more government spending. Another example of economic strife happening in Germany is their lackluster automobile industry, with examples like Volkswagen leaving the country. With more and more economic problems facing Germany, the new chancellor needs to capitalize on these issues. I think one very important idea that all of us can get behind is that it's nice to have money and not be poor. I mean, it's a common idea that having more money in your wallet is a good thing. And if the German chancellor were to garner support by increasing economic value in Germany, he might be able to gain a lot of social support. And having more social support means less support for these radical politicians. So now, let us slide into our second contention, as we begin to realize that not only are they facing economic strife, but Germany is facing a lot of physical problems. According to an article posted by The Guardian on February 14th, it stated that Germany and the rest of Europe is facing a lot of physical issues. A couple examples of this is fires in Ireland, housing crises throughout many of the countries, and of course, the Russian-Ukrainian war. With more and more physical conflicts and physical problems naturally happening within Europe, Germany is directly affected. However, this is further in an article posted by Force News, when it was posted on February 16th. In this article, it went on to outline how Germany's new chancellor needs to focus on more tackleable issues. More social and physical problems happening within Germany, and working on a more domestic basis could help the German chancellor gain a lot of support. The word tackleable means it's more easy for the German chancellor to handle. And by focusing on more easily handleable problems, the German chancellor might be able to garner the social support that he needs to push out these radical politicians. With these radical issues happening within Europe, it continues to be a problem. But this support might be the perfect catalyst for change in the region. So now, let us look onward to our third and final point of analysis, because it's time to examine the absolute blizzard that is social problems. According to an article posted by the European Popularity Tracker on March 2nd, it states that 46% of people within Germany would show open discontent and 46% of people also said they would show open the International Council on Foreign Relations on March 4th. In this article, it went on to talk about how a couple of examples within Europe are causing social strife. Things like Italy having more rising neo-Nazism, and as I stated before, the fall of Germany's right-wing coalition government are causing more and more, quote, political rifts among the German people. So, in conclusion, before we go on to build a snowman in the middle of March, we have to ask ourselves our question one more time. How can Germany's new chancellor work to ensure that radical politicians don't gain power in government? Well, after looking at their economy, their physical problems, and lastly, possibly most importantly, their social strife, it's clear to see that the resounding answer is to focus on a neutral campaign. And by appealing to the hearts and minds of Germany's people, the chancellor can garner the social support he needs to expel these radical ideas. Thank you.
Our next performer is junior Stephen Richards. Stephen consistently improved to see top ranks throughout the season and placed 4th at the optional Poland Seminary tournament before winter break, and placed 6th in a duo speech with myself after only 3 practices at the Big Districts tournament. He is a 3-time state qualifier with his piece, Psychopath. Please note that this piece includes material about mental illness and violence.
People have called me a hero, a killer, a saint, and a psycho. They even used to use the first 3 all in the same sentence. Hero, killer, saint. Maybe you're thinking army, prancing around the desert, protecting his country. That's me. I don't give 3 tosses about my country, and I sure as heck don't want to die for it. I'm not a cop, or a bodyguard, or anyone else where you'd expect hero and killer to go together. My name is Mark Carter, and until recently, I've lived a completely unremarkable life. The only thing most of you would find interesting about my last 5 years is that I've killed 16 people. Only got charged for 4 of them, but it was more than enough for the life sentence. I did the first one not too long after I quit my job, and my latest relationship had just broken down. Killing someone wasn't exactly on my things-to-do list, but, you know, the right situation crops up, and you never know what might happen. What happens when a self-proclaimed vigilante gets a little too extreme? This piece weaves through the life of Mark, who is grappling his demons and his hold on reality. Through the eyes of Mark, we see the thin, blurred line between normalcy and psychosis, challenging us to evaluate for the existence of similar characteristics within ourselves. Psychopath by Pete Mallory. It was late at night on a Wednesday. There I was, walking through the park, when I come across what looks like a couple of teenagers. When I get closer, I see the guy has his hand clamped down on the girl's mouth. There's something glinting in the lamplight. He sees me and frees me, holding what I can now see is a knife at her throat. Get out of here, or I cut it. What a charmer. I keep walking towards her. The girl, she can't move her head, but her terrified eyes fixed on me. I say to him, you ever done this before, boy? You're holding that little butter knife like you're ready to spread some butter on your toast. If you don't mind me getting her a little messy, I could show you a trick or two with your Swiss arms. The guy stares at me. He recognizes a stronger man. The girl, scared she can't move a muscle, let alone work up the breath for a good scream. I crouched down beside her and looked the guy straight in the eye. He's curious, so he hands me the knife. I feel this overpowering hatred take control of me. This sensation is too strong for me to deal with, and I need to get rid of it. Fast, I grab the knife, and it's over in a second. His throat is dashed open, and he collapses in a bleeding, dead heap. I drag his body away from the girl and offer her my hand. She lies there, whimpering for almost a minute before I bring her to her feet and send her on her merry way. Got off without so much as a wrist slap to this one. The girl told the court that he attacked me, and that I somehow managed to get control of him to defend myself. The media called me a hero. The second guy didn't give me quite the same reception. It was an accident, but he was one of the four I was charged for icing. I'd been helping my brother out loading electronics into his store at 3 a.m. I drove off when I was done, but came back 10 minutes later because I forgot my wallet. Now there's this guy in there stuffing cameras into a black trash bag. Hey, I said as he spins around to find my fist breaking his nose. I thought it'd be over in 2 seconds, but this guy was tough. He hit me right back, and we ended up on the floor. A bit of this, a bit of that, and then I rolled on top of him and grabbed a fistful of his hair. It made it real easy to smash his head to the ground. It was years later before they pinned it on me. Before my trial, the shrinks had all agreed that I was a psychopath. Most people wouldn't have the first clue to what that is. You see these movies, crazy people killing randoms and making cardigans from their skin. But that's not what a psycho is. Quite simply, we're people who don't feel guilt, remorse, or empathy. That's the biggest distinction between you and me. It doesn't mean that we're naturally wired to kill, or we enjoy to seek it out. We just don't feel anything when it happens. It's like having a cup of tea. I was a saint for the first 28 years of my life. Didn't hurt a fly. A rapist set me off, and it was only after him that I killed him. In my early 20s, I actually worked at a charity helping the poor. I volunteered one evening a week at the animal shelter, and I was a lifeguard. I didn't feel anything for any of those causes. But your intellect and your emotions are quite separate things. So I did what I felt was right, even though I didn't get the thrill of do-gooder. 3, 4, 5, and 6 were all in similar fashion. Young men doing something antisocial in my face who didn't like it when I told them to stop. I had one guy blow smoke in my face and put a cigarette out of my arm when I told him off for it. I actually enjoy it. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This is where the line is no longer blurry. Theo's crossed all the way through the gray, and he's nothing but pure psycho now. But you know what? I don't think you're all that great yourself. Go on. Who of you have ever helped a homeless? Like truly helped them? Given them a grand or two or a place to stay? How many of you eat meat? You all know what goes on there. Overcrowded cages, diseases, a torturous life, and a worse death, but you turn a blind eye because it tastes good. Right? Look at your clothes. child labor, slave wages. You say you care, but you're still wearing it. Me, I'm a psychopath. I have a psychological reason not to give a toss about the above inhumanity that we are all a part of. Seven was drunk and takes a fight with me, which I, well, truly won. 8 and 9 were drug dealers from my old high school. They were peddling through my neighborhood. I showed them where to go, and one of them pulled a gun. So, I shot them both. 10 was... What? Is this boring you? You want me to skip ahead? Fine. The last guy was known to me. I used to get Christmas cards from him after I saved his life 8 years back. He was at the beach and got caught in the rain. As a lifeguard, it was up to me to rescue him. Seemed like an easy fellow. A few years later, he bumps into my friend Sam from the surf club. Buys her a few drinks, ends up taking her home, and she gets cold feet because he doesn't take no for an answer. She was too scared to call the cops, so he gets away with it. All these years later, I see this guy on Pitt Street. I saved this man's life, and he thanks the world by hurting Sam. So I ask myself, why help people? I could do society a much bigger favor by icing the ones I know are bad than saving the ones who may or may not be good. So I took out the nearest weapon I had. A pen. And I stabbed this guy in the neck right in the middle of Pitt Street. Everyone was screaming. He fell to the ground trying to crawl away, bleeding everywhere. I watched him for over 3 minutes before some cop had his gun in my face. Before you know it, I'm in prison with a life sentence. Anyways, that's my story. Make of it what you will and judge me as you see fit. I'm Gio Carter. Hero. Killer. Psychopath.
Next up, we have a real treat. A live Lincoln Douglas debate between our state qualifying competitors, senior Joey Duncan and freshman Taylor Wells. Joey Duncan is a 4-time state qualifier and a national qualifier in Lincoln Douglas debate. This season, he had 13 winning records and was a champion at the Hoover tournament in January. This season, Taylor was a top novice at the New Philadelphia tournament in December and an octafinalist at the Big Districts tournament. Here, they present their mini-debate resolved. The development of artificial intelligence is immoral.
Resolved. The development of artificial general intelligence. Resolved. The development of artificial general intelligence is immoral. I affirm. I offer one definition. Artificial general intelligence, otherwise known as AGI, is an artificial intelligence that encompasses the ability to learn, understand, and apply knowledge whose capabilities are equivalent to or surpassing humans. My value is liberty, defined by Oxford English Dictionary as freedom from arbitrary, despotic, or autocratic control. We ought to prefer the value of liberty as it gives us the metric to measure the morality of actions. Thus, the bad criterion is promoting negative utilitarianism. As explained by philosopher Karl Popper, negative utilitarianism is the aim to reduce the most amount of suffering for the greatest amount of people. Prefer our criterion, as it is the only realistic and feasible construct to justify the morality of actions as a generalized aim to minimize immoral actions to the greatest extent. Contention 1, climate change. Developing AGI is guaranteed to cause environmental destruction. This is seen in two ways. First is emissions. Bakassani 24 explains energy demand for AGI is exceptionally high, as models have to be trained equivalent to the monthly output of a nuclear power plant. Kirshen 23 furthers that even modest AI models would end up emitting over 626,000 pounds of CO2 per company, which is more than all other annual international transportation emissions combined. The University of Toronto in 2025 quantifies that since 2019, AI in the US alone has increased pollutants by 2,000%. Second is water consumption. Bardwa et al. 25 finds that newer chip generations for AGI require companies to use over 37 million liters of water per day. Privet 22 explains that US AI data centers were drawing water from highly stressed watersheds, as more than 720 million people live in countries with highly critical water levels. By 2027, AI Global's consumption will be 6 times the water usage of the country Denmark. There's two impacts. First is energy demand. Winfield 20 writes that energy costs would be colossal. AGI requires the future energy output of 200 years to be taken away, and increases power requirements by 10,000 times. Riordan 25 concludes that AGI power demands would be impossible to do and create unattainable demands. By affirming we end the costly damages that stop overly ambitious decisions that only increase human suffering and restrict other development, failing liberty. Second is totalized collapse. Pixie 20 finds that a third of animal and plant species are at risk of extinction by 2050, which cause irreversible human suffering. Bender 21 concludes that existing threats such as monsoons in India that displace or kill 3 billion forced vulnerable people to pay the price of climate change, while climate tech like AI is being built to serve only the most privileged. End quote. Only in the affirmative can we stop pursuing the path towards extinction, which embeds restrictions in environmental suffering. Thus, I affirm.
Hello? Oh, awesome. All right. Is everyone good for cross? Good. Okay. Let's begin the time starting down. So why inherently does carbon emissions justify an action being moral? Because let's talk about green energy, for example. The development of green energy, which we say is a good idea, uses carbon emissions. So why inherently does using emissions in the short term announce and demark let's say AGI as immoral if it leads to long-term benefits?
Well, as I stated in my case, AGI uses tons and tons of emissions, more than we see from all country transportations combined.
Sure, but if the end result ultimately leads to less emissions, actually being out in the atmosphere, why is that inherently bad? Or as otherwise you'd say, immoral?
It's immoral because we are directly putting the underprivileged at harm. We're oppressing them and we're seeing a bunch of negative harms.
Okay, let's actually talk about this privileged idea. If AI right now is being made to serve only the most privileged, wouldn't the solution then be just develop more AI models, including such things as artificial general intelligence, to then make it more accessible for people to then obtain?
There's no way that we can make this more accessible, such as people in India and the climate change that...
Well, sure you can, right? You can just produce more, because then gives people a higher chance to then not only A, reducing the price of things like AI and AGI, but also B, creating more products of AGI to then be used, right?
Well, as I stated, AGI causes tons and tons of emissions, which then further the oppression of these underprivileged people.
Okay, let's go into more specific. So if you took water, for example, and if AGI right now is being developed by really large states, why can't we extract water domestically? Why can't the U.S. and other hegemons such as China and Russia then look to domestic water consumption and not offshoring to other really watershed areas?
Well, as I stated, the amount of water consumption that needs to be used for AGI simply isn't in the U.S. We're going to other places to develop this AGI, which is inherently bad and immoral.
That's time. Okay. All right, everyone ready? Okay. I'll begin the 4-minute speech then, starting now. I negate and I agree my opponent's value of liberty. However, the value criterion is mitigating structural oppression. Frank Lovett of Columbia University in 2014 explains, structural oppression is the condition to being subject to the arbitrary or uncontrolled power of the master. As a person or group has cannot enjoy the freedom to the extent that no other person in the group has the capacity to interfere with their affairs on an arbitrary basis. But for this criterion, because it's ultimately mitigates skewed power disparities, that we can achieve human dignity and uphold a moral consensus of actions based on those who need it the most. Thus, my sole contention is war. AGI is a crucial tool to minimize war and violence. This is for 2 reasons. First is bolstered resources. Black et al. 24 explains, military AI systems enhance deterrence by increasing the efficiency, accuracy, variety, and speed of response. This enables preventive actions before conflicts escalate, improving credibility through better insight to deploy just responses. But second is an increase in peacemaking. Babe 24 finds AI tools better designed and enforce peace settlements. Unlike other methods, AI analyzes rhetoric and sentiment to support conflict mediators to monitor hate speech and propaganda that undermine peace talks while building awareness, as well as simultaneously building contextualization, as the impact is twofold. First is nuclear deterrence. Who 24 explains that, quote, AI usage will strengthen credible nuclear deterrence and defensive capabilities without actually expanding nuclear arsenals, as accurate AI weaponization leads to a reduction in nuclear weapons and empowers organizations like NATO and its allies with a bargaining chip in future negotiations, end quote. AGI is a strategic tool that helps mitigate nuclear conflict that unfairly targets the most vulnerable groups. But second is developing simulations. White 16 explains, stable peace is urgent, and actual war implies global annihilation. However, AI simulations provide a unity for knowledge of cognition, which is used symbolically rather than physical force and violence. It provides insights which are unavailable from other methods to overcome human extinction in a post-human state. By negating, we utilize AGI's ability to protect the human race and disincentivize deadly alternatives that neglect the most oppressed groups and open the door to more harms. Thus, I strongly negate and now move on to the affirmative case. On the value criterion, there's 3 reasons why I prefer mitigating structural oppression over negative utilitarianism. First is that utilitarianism justifies oppression in the first place. By only looking at the majority of people, we disengage from governmental duties to help the most oppressed, as the negative thesis entirely disproves this by showing we help minimize violence to the most vulnerable groups. But second, you'll always prioritize quality over quantity. Even if the majority are effective, it's nowhere near the dividing liberty and rights to those who make up smaller groups who are harmed to a greater extent. But third and finally, is that it doesn't really matter because we can win under both framings. Because extinction alone through nuclear weapons outweighs on scope. On their sole contention, there's 8 main responses. First is that AI emissions are low right now. Richards 23 finds carbon emissions of AI training are minuscule compared to the computing sector as a whole. That minimizes all the offense, especially their impacts. But second, AGI always outweighs, and empirics prove this. Cho 18 finds, for example, in India, AI has helped farmers get 30% higher yields thanks to new information technology, and Norway now integrates renewable grids, which means that we can show that we can help solve issues in the long run. But third, you can turn the entire affirmative case, because AGI is a net decrease of emissions, not an increase of emissions. Stern 25 finds that AI's net impact on emissions remains overwhelmingly positive due to accelerating low-carbon technology. While sure, we might see some emissions in the short run, in the long run, we'll always see benefits. But fourth, you can delink their impacts, because AGI is a requirement anyway. Rudin 23 finds AGI improves governments to create more effective, efficient policies, which are a necessity for trust, which means that there's no way it ever can be moral. But fifth is that war expedites climate change. Cross-apply the entire NC. We prove that war only increases harms, including climate change, which means that it's more advantageous to use AGI to stop bigger conflicts. But six is that their water consumption point is entirely not unique, because A, all they're warranting is on AI, not AGI. That ultimately leads to zero credibility as well as topicality. But B, even if it isn't used by AGI, it'll be used by AI instead, making it inevitable regardless, with or without AGI development, therefore making it non-moral. Seventh is that energy demands don't need to be 100% achieved. We don't need to fulfill every single burden set by the affirm to create this 100% switch, but rather just take steps to a better future, which is exactly what AGI has to offer. But eighth and finally, you can drop their second impact. We're turning the entire case anyway, because you can kick the impacts regarding AGI has been, will continue to reinvigorate the climate sector and be used as a just tool in the toolbox, avoiding total collapse. Thus, I urge you to negate. I'm sick.
just so you all know, you can go ahead and get up and get cookies, like one at a time whenever you're ready. I'm glad you're happy about that. Throughout the next few performances, you can get up and get cookies and everything. And Senior Joey is undecided on what college he plans to attend, but he plans to study political science, so good luck, Joey. Next up is freshman Gabriella Hoops in declamation. Throughout the season, woo! Go Gigi! Throughout the season, she has worked hard to earn top ranks at 5 tournaments, including a state qualifying position this year. Today, she will be telling us the inspiring and bittersweet story of Kirsten Johnson and the piece that got her on this stage, The Secret That Almost Killed Me. Please note that this piece includes material about substance abuse and sexual assault.
I'm here to tell you guys the truth. My truth. Because the truth does have the power to set us free, and not telling the truth can have serious consequences. We have a saying in the recovery community, you're as sick as your secrets. So I'm going to share my secrets with you, because my secret almost killed me. I don't want to talk about this. I never wanted to talk about it. But not talking about it is what keeps the problem in place. And the solution begins when we break the silence. According to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, every 68 seconds an American is sexually assaulted. And every 9 minutes, that victim is a child. In this piece, Kirsten Johnson depicts her story of overcoming her silence and revealing her secrets, hoping to help others do the same. Not only does she overcome this abuse, but she faces a battle of addiction and a downward spiral of mental health. I have now been talking for roughly a minute. That means another person is about to become a victim of sexual assault. And by the time I have finished this speech, another 8 Americans have become victims of sexual assault. It is time that these victims are able to speak their truth and break the cycle. The Secret That Almost Killed Me by Kirsten Johnson. The first time I broke my silence was when I was 19 years old. I was blasting music, dancing in my kitchen. I grabbed a sponge and the soap and began washing a knife. I'm moving, grooving, having a great time when suddenly hands gripped my shoulder. Without a thought, I turned around and I held a 12-inch silver blade to his throat. He looked down at me, terrified, and I looked up at the 6'7" man. Only then I realized it was my boyfriend. I was safe. I dropped the knife and I began to cry. I didn't know what PTSD was back then, or that I was in the fight part of fight or flight. But because I had just held a knife to my boyfriend's throat, I felt like I had to tell him the truth. That was the first time I told anyone my truth. That I was sexually abused in childhood. I was in my college dorm room the first time I was raped. I was crying and I was saying, "No, stop!" But I didn't know it was rape because he was my friend. I got depressed, didn't tell anyone, couldn't get out of bed, and I dropped out of college the next semester. A decade later, I was in graduate school studying statistics. I had a best friend there, and we'd always study together, math geeks that we were. One night, we pulled an all-nighter. We stayed up all night writing our final papers and intending to turn them in by the new deadline. But he needed to use the restroom, and I was exhausted, so I laid on my couch and must have instantly fallen asleep. The next thing I know, I'm waking up to him sexually assaulting me. This time, my nervous system took a freeze, and I was unable to move or speak until he was finished. I never got help. This re-victimization shoved me further down on the downward spiral of mental health and installed in me, from that day forward, a phobia of waking up to sexual assault. There were many years where I refused to sleep next to anyone I was dating, and I never told them why. There's a lot of re-victimization in my past, including 4 more rapes. I imagine this is difficult to hear as it is difficult to say, but what's even more heartbreaking is that there are survivors everywhere living with this trauma hidden inside them. They are silently suffering with declining mental health. I was silent about the childhood sexual abuse. I was silent about the re-victimizations. I was silent about all the fear that I felt, and I was silent about how much alcohol I poured in my system just to feel okay. Eventually, when the panic attack started, I sat to a psychiatrist who prescribed me benzos. He told me benzos weren't addictive, and I told him I didn't drink very often. He diagnosed me with just about every anxiety disorder. Alcohol made the anxiety go away, but really made the anxiety worse. For some of us who were sexually abused in childhood, it can lead to other things, such as self-harm, suicide attempts, eating disorders, drug addiction for me. I had post-traumatic stress disorder, fear of leaving the house, fear of people, the flashbacks, the nightmares, but I was never diagnosed with PTSD because I never talked about my sexual trauma. And that's what makes it so difficult to diagnose and to treat because as a culture, we don't want to talk about the underlying trauma. On top of all the mental health challenges sexual abuse often leads to, we have stigmas against, only encouraging us to stay further silent in our suffering. For me, childhood sexual abuse was like having an elephant for my roommate. When I ignore the elephant in the room, all I could do was focus on the destruction it's causing. But ignoring the elephant doesn't make it go away, and the destruction continues. Those who are sexually abused in childhood are 6 times more likely to abuse alcohol and 3 times more likely to develop an anxiety disorder. My downward spiral came to a halt one day when I was walking down my hallway. I caught my reflection in the mirror, and I was looking in my eyes, but it felt like I was looking into an empty shell. But the flame of my spirit was about to flicker out. I went to rehab September 29, 2009, and I remember feeling that morning that it was the worst day of my life. But now when I look back at it, it was the best day of my life. Because the day that I got professional help and told somebody the truth was the day that I got on the upward spiral of mental health. I was very motivated to learn how to feel comfortable in my skin. So I did a yoga teacher training a month later. I went to Mysore, India to do my Ashtanga yoga practices. And that was wild. 6 months earlier, I was afraid to leave my house, and then at 6 months sober, I'm sitting in India across from a guru learning about transcendental meditation, yoga breathing, and mindfulness, and that when I changed my relationship with my nervous system, I started to heal. And it was exactly this learning how to befriend the sensations in my body that it allowed me to develop a deeper connection with my intuition. And it was then my intuition that a few years later inspired me to move 8,000 miles away. The woman who was afraid to leave her house moved 8,000 miles away to a little island in Indonesia called Bali. Bali was amazing, and I did a lot of long spiritual healing journeys there. And it was the most loving time of my life because up until that point, I had always abandoned and rejected myself. Starting then, I decided to radically love and accept myself, and all my feelings were allowed to be felt and released. Ever since I left rehab, I've overcome the anxiety disorders and the panic attacks. I left Bali to come speak about the things that I was never going to speak about because this message needs to be heard. We need to know that if we have this trauma buried inside of us, it might be why our mental health is declining. We need to know that we can be free. For the Me Too's listening, I pray that you find the strength and the courage to tell somebody the truth, to tell somebody what happened. But telling somebody is not enough. You need to be heard. At any time, we can start to learn how to love and accept ourselves, but it starts with breaking that silence by telling somebody the truth. And it's not just the Me Too's who silence except for now, is it? Most of us have an elephant. Most of us have something so deep and dark locked inside of us that we swear we're never going to tell anyone. Harboring dark secrets like that, with all the guilt and the shame that comes with them, can slowly kill us inside. Mine take
Next is freshman Brent Williams. Brent was a part of our growing middle school speech team, which gave him the experience that earned him 5th place at the Three Rivers Tournament, 6 Top Novice Awards, and 23rd in the state in program oral interpretation. He also won Hoover in supplemental speaking. Here's his award-winning program, Silent Struggles. Please note that this piece includes heavy themes about racism and discrimination.
Have you ever seen a black man walk? It's like rhythm and meter that got up off the page that decided to move and glide with the spirits. Have you ever seen a black man walk into the room, Morse code style, in those steps or messages, and you have, listen, they're trying to kill me, stop, search, and frisk me. There are prayers in a black man's wall. Don't let him shoot me down where I'm standing. Don't let me die in the streets like an animal. I'm a man. I swear I'm a man. I swear. I am a black man who has grown up in the United States, so I know what it's like to feel that sting of discrimination. As a middle-class, light-skinned black man, I know that many of us have suffered and continue to suffer a lot worse than me. I grew up around a lot of white people, and in elementary school, I remember being told that I was one of the good ones, not one of the bad ones. It's like I was meant to understand that I was different. Growing up, I didn't always understand why I had to follow the rules that I did. I mean, like, did I really have to mow the lawn? My childhood was abound with questions like this. Normal things when a kid realizes that maybe it's best to listen to your parents, even when you don't understand why. In a shocking hate crime at Shawnee Mission High School, a black girl was viciously attacked by a white male student. The assault left her hospitalized with a broken nose. In a disturbing turn of events, Bree, the victim, now faces suspension from the school. Racism is often painted as a relic of the past, but the truth is far more daunting. It's a poison that persists in our schools, our workplaces, and even our grocery stores. I've been discriminated against many times, whether it's people joking about my skin color, thinking they're being funny, to being racially profiled by a past teacher of mine. So today I'm here to educate, to give a voice to those who've been silenced, and to take one more step into racial equality. The Prose and Equality at School by Kirsten Ware, Growing Up Black in America by Brian Jones, School Hate Crime by Ryan Sorrell, and Poetry When a Black Man Walks by Niall Israel. Silent Struggles, a program. Because racism isn't a thing of the past, but a plague on the present. When a black man walks, he's always hunted, he's always animal. His body stands out like a dead corpse. He smells like a KKK appetizer, nuggets of his own flesh, dipped into his own blood. I've been thinking a lot lately about this idea of humanity, but more specifically, who in this world is afforded the privilege of being perceived as fully human? Or over the course of the past several months, the world has watched as unarmed black men and women have had their lives taken at the hands of police and unknown vigilantes. And these events, no less, transpired after them brought me back to my own childhood and the decisions that my parents had to make raising a black son in America. I think of how hard it must have been, how profoundly unfair it must have been for them to feel like they had to strip away parts of my childhood just so I could come home safely at night. I am good by America's standards, or at least better. My skin is light. Most of the time I dress like a middle-class professional, and my manner of speech portrays a large degree of assimilation in the white American mainstream. But as many of us have learned, there is no amount of assimilation that can shield you from the racism in this country. The incident unfolded last week when Bree non-violently confronted a white female student for using racial slurs and calling black female students slaves. After their argument, they peacefully parted ways. However, a white male student, previously uninvolved, aggressively shouts at Bree to shut the F up. Bree then responds by asking what did he say. The white male student then charges toward Bree while repeatedly hurling the N-word. When a black man walks, listen to the orchestra playing beneath his feet. See how many faces taste of fear in the presence of a black man. See how many women clench their purses so tightly till their fingers grow numb. See how many men hide their eyes, wishing the darkness would go away, maybe choke itself to death. Throughout my life, something the kink in my hair or my attitude has marked me as inferior, worthy of ridicule, humiliation, or ostracism. In elementary school, I got the distinct impression my teachers didn't really like me. I got in trouble a lot, and one teacher even wrote on my report card that I was immoral. But in third grade, the whole dynamic changed when I had my first black teacher. Mrs. Brooks decided it was okay if I squirmed in my chair. She talks about injustice and discrimination and how to recite and interpret poetry to the black arts movements. Thank you, Mrs. Brooks. Think of this one night when I was around 12 years old. My friends and I got super soakers and turned the hotel parking lot into our own water-filled battle zone. We were hiding behind cars, running around in the darkness, laughter across the pavement. But then, suddenly, my father grabbed me by my forearm and led me into our hotel room. Before I could tell him how foolish he made me look, he sat me down, fear across his face, and said, "Son, I'm sorry, but you can't act the same as your white friends. You can't pretend to shoot guns like your white friends. You can't even run around in the dark like your white friends. You can't hide behind anything other than your own teeth." The incident at Shawnee Mission High School is not an isolated one. Students often report a history of racism at school being overlooked, swept under the rug, or downplayed by the administration, with one student even recalling the principal's racist remarks about blacks since appearing intimidating, or looking like they're going to jump somebody when they're walking in groups. One year, one of the few black students at my high school found a noose hanging in his locker. The culprits? A white student, and all he had to do to get out of trouble was issue this lame apology. His punishment should have been way more severe. Looking back on it, I realized my survival strategy was to make myself as non-threatening as possible. I became So will practice the art of not offending racist white people that I cease to become enraged by them. I learned how to enter a store and say hello as if I'm not going to steal anything. I learned how to carry books through a bookstore and learned how to walk through stores with bags that are not closed or zippered shut. And so on. Students at Shawnee Mission High School have voiced their outrage and disgust in the recent wave of the attack. Jackson, a black student, has voiced his concern for personal safety, saying, "We are equally frustrated and angry. It should have never gotten to this point." They're very quiet about this. They won't voice that this is wrong. Racist students never get into serious trouble at school. I'm tired of trying to find and people and administrators who won't help us. But this cannot be what defines us. We have parents who raised us, understand our bodies. We're not meant for the backside of a bullet. We had teachers who taught us how to raise our hands and not signal surrender. So when we say that Black Lives Matter, it's not because of the dumb. It's simply because we are affirming that we are worthy of living in this world without fear. I don't want my son to be presumed as guilty the moment he is born. I want the toy in his hand to still be a toy. When a black man walks, think of it as a beautiful masterpiece that you may only hear once. Cherish it. You never hear it again. Thank you.
Next up is senior Morgan Cowlin and sophomore Molly Wolf. These ladies have been well accomplished this year, earning top 6 placements at 11 tournaments, champions at 3 tournaments, national qualifiers, and 14th in the state. Molly earned top ranks at 12 tournaments in humorous interpretation and is a 2-time state and national qualifier. We are happy to present you with a talented duo that is sure to make you laugh with their piece, Baby Mama. Please note that this piece includes adult language in a humorous fashion.
Hi, my name is Tucker Donovan. I'm here to buy some frozen sperm.
Our database allows you to sort donuts by height, hair color, and ethnic background. You can even specify Ivy League graduate.
I love that.
Perhaps you used the test incorrectly. Remember, you will not get an accurate result if it is your husband who urinated a mistake.
I don't have a husband.
But you're trying to get pregnant?
Yup.
The pharmacy sent over those P6 you ordered.
They're not called P6, officer. They're pregnancy tests.
Well, good luck. Hope you're not pregnant. I just don't like your uterus. Your eggs are in great shape, but you have a T-shaped uterus with erectile implantation. I just don't like your uterus.
Mentioned that. So why do I have this T-shaped uterus?
Most likely the side effect of a medication always prescribed while pregnant with you, which we know now can cause infertility.
Infertility.
Yes. I'd say your chances of conceiving are very low.
How low?
Your chances of getting pregnant are 1 in a million.
In her book, Your Future Family, Kim Bergman explains that despite its $200,000 price tag, surrogacy has changed the way we build our families, giving couples one last shot at the most precious gift, life.
$200,000? Damn. Actually, are getting expensive. Good thing my mom was a fertile myrtle. It took one try to help my brother, and I was empty. So.
Not that every fertile myrtle is our friend Kate, who yearns for a child but is quickly running out of options.
Insert Angie and a turkey baster to help Kate achieve her dream of becoming a mother.
While Kate hopes for the birth of a future child, she does not expect the birth of an unconventional family.
May we all be open to finding the feeling of family, even if it looks a little different.
Baby Mama, by Michael Colors.
So, who are we waiting on again?
Her name's Angie. She my surrogate mother.
Oh, your baby mama.
No, I'm paying her. There's set up by an agency and her contracts and all. You know, it's really business.
So you pay the bills and she makes the baby. That's the baby mama.
Somebody has to pay the rent.
Well, maybe you're gonna sell teacups on eBay.
Andy?
What?
I'm Kate.
This is Carl, my husband.
So, how long have you two been together? 3, 8, 4.
12 years. Before Carl came along, I dated a lot of losers, but then I gave him the greatest gift a girl could give a guy.
You were a virgin?
I've been saying the only one to give it to. We've been together ever since.
That's so sweet.
Wow, your apartment's so beautiful. What does your husband do?
Oh, I don't have a husband.
Oh, you want all this to yourself?
We're a little short on funds right now, which is why this whole baby thing comes at a good time. What about you? What got you interested in this threesome, for lack of a better word?
Oh, there's a better word.
I never thought I'd come up. I can't have a child of my own, so this is the only way I can have a family.
You know, we do need the money, but mostly because it's something I know I can do. I want to feel good at something. Feel
Appreciated.
yeah.
I can't do this without you, Angie. I need you.
I'll have no baby. So, this is positive. It's Angie. I know. But I'm pregnant. If there's anything you need, and I need anything,
You let me know.
you got baby mama drama. I love Carl. I found out Carl was cheating on me, so I stood up for myself. We got a huge fight, things got physical.
Is the baby alright?
Yeah, I didn't hit him that hard.
So, what are you going to do? Where are you going to stay?
Well, he did say if I needed anything.
I'm really busy, and
You know, this is a dumb idea. Here, take a picture of the baby from the ultrasound. That looks like a squirrel. Like a cute squirrel.
you should have told me. I would have been there.
You know, I'm just kidding my mom, you know? She smokes a little, and her neighborhood's not nearly as nice.
You can say here. In fact, I insist you say here. Should you be drinking that right now?
It's only my third one. Anyway, Dr. Pepper's good for you. It's got doctor right in the title. The way you shake it, I can't believe it. I ain't never seen an ass like that. The way you move it, never be deal. Bring up!
What are you doing?
You told me it was an Oscar for needed anything.
I meant a Q-tip. That entire 7-Eleven. You can't have this garbage.
Hey, those are my pasty cakes.
Full of preservatives, corn syrup, caffeine. Caffeine, Angie, really?
I'm gonna have my Dr. Pepper.
No, soda. Studies have shown that exposure to loud sounds can damage the fetus's brain structure. You have to remember you are carrying something very helpless and precious. Whatever you eat, the baby eats. Whatever you listen to, the baby listens to.
Whenever you shake that ass, the baby shakes that ass. Get out, Oscar!
Just give me a family. Just give me a family. I cannot let you mess up this baby. ¿Dónde está la estación de tren? Where is the train station? Studies have shown that fetuses can learn foreign languages in the womb.
Yeah, well, this will not be fluent, bitch.
You got child locks all over the house. It shouldn't be any issue for children over the age of 7. Yeah, shut up, nice and slow. You should really jump with a baby person. You can't be any more than 4 months along. Better safe than sorry.
Somebody from the toilet! Sorry for broke one of your rules.
You peed in the sink! Isn't that against everyone's rules?
Only a crazy person locks their toilet. So what do you want to talk about?
I want you to come home, baby. I miss you. I haven't had sex in 2 weeks.
I've been gone a month.
Whatever. Listen, if you're not careful, you're gonna blow this thing to the both of us.
Well, maybe you should have forged the test in the first place.
Maybe you should have actually gotten pregnant when you're supposed to. How long do you think it's gonna take for that lady to realize you're not really pregnant? You're supposed to force the test, send a picture of the ultrasound to the mail, and then cash the checks.
The ultrasound was like a squirrel, by the way.
It was a squirrel. That's all you can find on the internet.
I want a divorce. mother. What's her name? Christina. Beyonce, I'm pronounced yet. Christina's with an X, but Beyonce spelled the traditional way. This is a family.
After graduation, Morgan plans to attend Akron University for music education. Best of luck, Morgan. This year, Louisville has sent 3 individuals to the state tournament in congressional debate. First, junior Gage Martin, who earned his place as 9th in the state, as well as consistently being a finalist at the majority of tournaments this year. Next, we have sophomore Noah Wolf, who has seen great improvement in both humor and duo this year, and proudly represented our team in Congress at the state tournament. And finally, Taylor Wells, who you saw earlier. Together, they will be speaking on the topic, A Bill to Save the Appalachians.
Hello, everyone. Brief rundown, but let's get the Appalachians so you know whatever I'm talking about. It's a bill that process known as mountaintop mining, and then along with that, it provides subsidies and economic aid for those who might be displaced due to a ban on the mining industry in West Virginia, or parts of it. So, absolutely. Hello, my name is Representative Martin. This is my first time speaking today, first time this legislative session. I'll begin with this out of readiness and those above me. I'm the proud author of this piece of legislation. Thank you. In Congress, we're very familiar with the idea of kicking the can down the road. That whenever there's any sort of issue, instead of actually solving the problem, we immediately look for a stopgap. Something to hold us over in the meantime. You passed today to end that process, to solve an issue. This is like my constituents for far too long. We passed for 2 key reasons. First, the terrors of mountaintop mining, and second, this bill builds us the Silicon Mountains, which brings us to our very first contention. Mountaintop mining is a region-wide crisis. According to Appalachian Voices just last year, millions of acres, hundreds of mountains, and billions of tons of earth are moved every single year through a process known as mountaintop mining, in which a mining company starts at the top of the mountain, blows it up, and digs down 600 feet back and forth until there's no mountain left. And according to the EPA in November of 2024, mining companies, although they care very much about what might be in that mountain, they care next to little about what happens to the rock after it's displaced. It ends up in valleys and water reservoirs. The Yale School of Environment tells us that due to this process, mountaintop mining holds the highest rate of death of any mining subsidy. It's proven to ruin water supplies, make air nearly impossible to breathe, almost impossible to breathe, both miners and individuals who live around the area, and spreads heavy carbons into our water supplies. According to the Appalachian Regional Committee in 2023, although mountaintop mining is an obvious hazard to the food, water, and air supply in Appalachia, it provides a serious threat to their wounds as well. Once again, according to the Appalachian Regional Committee in 2023, the miscarriage rate inside of Appalachia, directly because of mountaintop mining, is 16% higher than any other spot in the United States. Birth deformities are 21% more likely in the region than anywhere else. Passing today is not a sensitive opinion. It's not a choice. It's a necessity. Which brings me to my second contention, the new Appalachian economy. Now, Representative Martin, it's clear this is an obvious danger. But what do we do with individuals who might be coming home with pink slips due to a ban of mountaintop mining? Well, according to the Department of Energy in July 2024, coal is decreasing year by year from 4 to 8% a year in terms of usage. The Pew Research Center and their team of scientists in 2021 say that by 2050, the United supposed to go green. According to Science Directive 2021, regardless of those studies, mountaintop mining and coal still is the largest employer in the region. And that is why, in my bill, located in section D and E, you'll see that this bill provides $2 billion worth of immediate job training to the region and $10 billion per state going to Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia over 10 years of direct economic investment in a way to cut short some of the harms that we might see from such a needed change. So, representatives, we're left with a choice, a hard one, but a necessary one. You either choose to rip the Band-Aid off now, with subsidies, supports, and safeguards, that those who might fall between the cracks are saved, are still able to provide for their families, or you wait 20 years, and you watch the entirety of the region's economy, everything they built themselves on, disintegrate overnight, leaving no hope of prosperity or even a glimpse of happiness in the region. Peel the Band-Aid off now. Help these people make the hard choice and stop kicking the can down the road. Pass.
Great Chief Representative Martin, as always, I just have a couple of questions to ask you.
Of course.
Now, starting off, I do think that the stats that you shared about environmental health are worrying, but why don't you change how we're mining instead of putting people out of jobs?
Well, as you notice, this is not a complete ban on mining, just a mountain type variety, which is by far the most dangerous and sees the most amount of environmental harms. And every other nation in the world with modern economic and environmental policies is banned. And that's because it's disproportionately harmful for the miners and their families as a group.
Now, moving on, you talked about going green, right?
Absolutely.
What are we going to do for the next 20 years as we finally get off fossil fuels?
As I stated, there's direct economic investment throughout this piece of legislation, which shows that when we do ban mountaintop mining, we provide the money, the funding, and the training for those individuals to enter other sectors and to invite other types of industry in to displace some of those lost jobs, and most of them.
And just out of curiosity, you would rather employ all of the workers that are currently mining instead of slowly sending them off. Also, if we got rid of all of these jobs, wouldn't this cause a huge drop in our economy?
West Virginia and the region of Appalachia is already on what is essentially life support for the United States government. We send billions and billions of dollars into the region due to their poor economic status in the status quo. And that's because of mountaintop mining. You, of course, cannot have a sustainable economy and a well-developed form of employment if half your population is unable to work due to the dangers of mountaintop mining. You ban it, that way, in 20 years, 30 years, West Virginia and Appalachia as a whole is able to pick themselves up, is able to help themselves and put food on the table. Because without it, they're doomed.
Thank you so much, Representative Martin.
Absolutely.
Our next outstanding senior is our wonderful Vice President, Maddie Bigham. This year, Maddie has not only dominated Eastern Ohio with her piece in original oratory, but also in informative speaking. Maddie has earned top ranks and top placements at a variety of tournaments this year, including placing 4th at the Poland Seminary Tournament. So here is Maddie, performing her informative piece titled Hidden Music.
I love video games. My favorite video game of all time is Stardew Valley. It's an adorable game in which your character lives on a farm, mining, growing plants, fishing, and creating lasting relationships with the townspeople. The possibilities are endless as far as goals go, and it's incredibly fun to play with friends and family. I personally have a save game with my boyfriend, and friend's sister, and 7 of my own. One of which is on my youth pastor's Xbox. Sorry, Mom. But my obsession isn't just with the game. I love the soundtrack. When I first started playing, I listened to the soundtrack everywhere, all the time. In my car, during class, at home, during lunch about the composers behind your favorite movies or video games, or what goes on behind the scenes when creating Walmart's radio. So let's investigate the music that we don't always understand or notice. As we first plant our potatoes, as we learn about the different kinds of background music. Next, we'll cast our fishing line as we learn about the choices the creators of this music make, before finally hitting save on our game as we learn about how to use this music to our own advantage. To start, let's get a dictionary definition. Merriam-Webster defines background music as the music to accompany the action or dialogue of a motion picture, radio, or television drama. Merriam-Webster is the best, isn't she? However, one thing I have to dispute with our good dictionary friend is that background music can be any music behind any action. Whether it's the aggressive jazz I listen to while writing this, or the smooth Nora Jones I listen to in the car. But we will be discussing some of what Merriam-Webster had to say. And we'll start with film. According to Catherine Kalanick, professor in film studies, music creates emotion, foreshadowing, setting, atmosphere, and highlights characters' thoughts and actions. In other words, movie music highlights what the creators want to be highlighted, without taking too much attention away from the scene itself. And this goes the same for video game music. It makes us notice what the creators want to be noticed, and creates a better sense of immersion. According to John Boyce, creator of a recently released video games music, music creates a better sense of narrative and immersion, and reinforces the feelings of the character that is being manipulated by the player. Now let's switch over to some music you may or may not notice depending on how much you like it. Retail and restaurants. According to LS Retail, movie music in stores can increase sales, define or redefine a brand, and attract a certain demographic. We all know those very famous jingles, such as I'm Loving It from McDonald's, or ba-da-da-da-da-da-da from Old Spice. These are examples of recognizable music we associate with the brand, and can be in the form of these short jingles or in longer songs, like in those choreographed drug ads. Lowers your A1C, but may cause death. We all know what I'm talking about, right? Or maybe I watch a little too much Jeopardy? Music can also attract a certain demographic, such as playing Chaperone in American Eagle, or punk rock in A Hot Topic. But there's so much more to background music than we know, and even more that the creators of this music know that we don't. So, let's cast our fishing line and sit here and wait for the information to come to us. According to Claire Herzog, when we have personal experience of viewing a genre we are about to watch, we expect what we know that genre provides. So if we're about to watch a horror movie, we expect to feel scared. And if we're about to play a cozy farming game, we expect to feel relaxed. This anticipation of what's to come is further sealed in by the composers of the music. But directors can create misdirection with music, making you think everything is fine when the killer is right behind the door, or making you think there's something super scary going on in those bushes when it's really just a cute little bunny. Without this music, we wouldn't know to feel these things. Whoa. Okay. I mean, come on. When's the last time you looked at bushes and got super scared when there were creepy violins in the background? Now let's switch over to the retail side of things. According to a study conducted at the National Institute of Health, when we hear music of faster tempos, especially that we recognize, we tend to seek more variety. For businesses, this means that they will be able to attract a certain demographic, and that those people will seek something newer to the market or outside of their comfort zones. This not only achieves a buyer, but a loyal customer that knows that this store has what they like. In addition to this, music that is mainstream and popular in the media may become foreground music, leading to it being less useful for browsing in stores, but more useful for marketing. Now that we are
study, 50 inpatients were given 30 minutes of relaxing music to listen to. And vital signs showed significantly less stress, and patients reported feeling less stress and anxiety. In addition to this, music focuses and motivates. It motivates by engaging the reward center of our brain, making us think that we actually enjoy what we're doing. And in a study conducted with boys with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, it was found that they focused significantly better with music playing in the background. And to top it all off, music aids our processing speeds and memory. In a 2014 study shown with older adults that showed that their processing speeds were significantly higher with background music. However, not all music is good background music, and in certain cases it can become a distraction. So here's some tips to find the best background music for you. To start, find a song that has lyrics that you don't understand or you do not recognize, as strong feelings associated with music can cause distractions. In the best case scenario, find a low volume, relaxing playlist. And avoid the classical music craze. While there are benefits shown to listening to classical music, it can become a distraction if you know the song or if it's experimental and has lots of random loud sections. I personally recommend a lo-fi playlist known for the easy and relaxing beat that is enjoyable to listen to, and the studies show benefits associated with it. While I was writing this portion of my speech, I was using an app on my computer called Light@.io, which has fun backgrounds that include background music and atmospheric sounds, all ad-free. It also has some color fun features like a to-do list, Pomodoro timer, and breathing exercises. Music is everywhere, and I love it. From the music I sing in Walmart to the How to Train Your Dragon theme, music is powerful, and we can all use it to our advantage. Today, we learned about the different kinds of background music, the choices the creators of this music make, and finally, how we can use music more intentionally to our own advantage. My obsession with cozy farming games isn't going anywhere, and neither is my obsession with the Stardew Valley soundtrack. That has some songs I could listen to all day long.
Yep. Figured. After high school, Maddie plans to attend Tiffin University with a major in commercial music. Our next performer is sophomore Brody Brown in United States extemporaneous speaking. Brody was consistently a strong competitor this year, earning himself second place at our Stowe tournament, as well as being 23rd in the state in United States extemp, and a national qualifier in international extemp. Brody is now a two-time state qualifier in United States extemp and will be answering the question, as the U.S. pushes nuclear energy, what should be done with the waste?
Just the other day, I reached back into my family's refrigerator and made a staggering discovery. I found a strange, mysterious Tupperware container, and as I pulled it closer and peeled off the lid, I began to question, was this my mom's lasagna or nuclear waste? And the answer was yes, because hopefully she is listening, but she can't cook. But just like how my mom's cooking abilities often falter, America's management of nuclear waste and nuclear energy in general also tends to falter. And as nuclear energy continues to be a rising power source across the globe and across our nation, it is imperative that the U.S. finds proper ways to actually manage this waste, which makes it paramount that we ask today's question. As the U.S. pushes nuclear energy, what should be done with the waste? And the answer is clear, that it should be processed and recycled, and we can see why through three key points of analysis. By first, analyzing how America currently deals with nuclear waste. By second, taking a deeper dive into its potential to have the plutonium and uranium contents recycled. By third and finally, taking one last look at the positive impacts we would see on both both our economy and our environment. And so now, as we reach into the refrigerator with a pinched nose, let's take a look at how America currently manages nuclear waste. An article shared to us by the CDC on January 13th of this year reported that each and every year America is producing 2,000 metric tons of nuclear waste. And so, considering that we're producing so much nuclear waste every single year, it's clear that we have to have proper ways to manage it. But unfortunately, we don't. As reported in an article shared by the Government Office of Accountability on July 10th of 2023, where they reported that every single year with nuclear power growing, America currently has a decommissioned nuclear power plant in Washington State, known as Hanford Site, which is currently containing over 58 million gallons of nuclear sludge in 117 aging and leak-prone concrete silos deep underground. And so, considering that our only plan for managing nuclear waste from our nuclear power plants is pumping it deep underground, it's clear we don't have a good plan. Because we are poisoning both our environment and our people by just putting it out there in nature. And so, as we take a crack at this Tupperware container and look at whatever's inside now, let's look at how the U.S. can take a crack at recycling uranium and plutonium contents within this nuclear waste. An article shared by the U.S.-based renowned think tank 538 on August 23rd of 2024 reported to us that every single time the U.S. reported to us that even after being ran through a nuclear reactor over 5 times, nuclear waste still contains over 96% of all its potential energy. The article continues, stating that the U.S. is one of the only nuclear nations that doesn't recycle its nuclear waste. And so, considering that other nations across the globe are actually recycling this nuclear waste, and it has so much potential energy left within it, it is a mature industry that we could easily get into. But the benefits from recycling nuclear waste are even further. In an article shared to us by the New York Times on January 1st of this year, wherein it was stated that for every gram of plutonium or 100 grams of uranium that is recycled from this spent fuel or nuclear waste, we're saving over 1 ton of oil, 2.5 tons of wood, and 1.5 tons of coal. We are simply getting so much energy back from recycling this waste that we are able to save on all these natural resources, being wood, oil, and coal, that we previously have already used up, which would allow them to be allocated in other areas of our economy and therefore be saved and more long-lasting. And so now that we are positively sure this is no longer lasagna, let's look at the positive impacts that America could see if we were to actually recycle nuclear waste within our economy and our environment. An article shared in the WhiteHouse.gov on January 13th of this year reported, an article shared by the WhiteHouse.gov on January 13th of this year reported that if we were to recycle nuclear waste, we would be able to save our economy, because they cite a French-based nuclear waste recycling agency known as Orano, which is employing over 4,800 people and 125 specialists. And so, if we were able to mimic something like this, or even bring Orano over to the States, we would be able to create tens of thousands of jobs for Americans across our nation, which would help to stimulate and bolster our economy overall. But not only would recycling nuclear waste help our economy, but it would also save our environment. Because, as I previously mentioned, all we do is pump it deep underground because, well, it's cheap and it's easy to just forget about it. But a staggering statistic shared by the CDC on October 10th of last year stated that nuclear waste being pumped underground is harming our environment in numerous ways. It continues to report that it can contaminate our water, our air, and even our soil. The CDC continues, reporting that it is harming not only our environment, but also our people, Because if it were to contaminate the air, water, and soil, it eventually gets back to us. And so, by recycling this nuclear waste, we would be able to completely eradicate this problem and no longer have to worry about it. And so, to bring everything full circle, let's revisit today's question of, as the U.S. pushes nuclear energy, what should be done with the waste? And the answer is clear, that it should be recycled and processed. And we can see why through 3 key points. First, we took a look at how America currently manages nuclear waste in our country. Then, we took a closer look at its potential to recycle the plutonium and uranium contents within. Then third and finally, we took one last look at the positive impacts we would see on both our environment and our economy. And so, in reality, once again, America does have problems maintaining its nuclear waste. But also, in reality, my mom is a wonderful cook. Thank you.
Next, we have a performance from the president herself, Milena Swope. Milena has been a force to be reckoned with as a champion of the Pullman Seminary Tournament and earning top ranks at 17 tournaments. She also placed 13th in drama at the state tournament. Here's her tear-jerking piece, Living Dead Girl. Please note that this piece includes themes of kidnapping, sexual assault, and abuse.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl. She had a mother and a father in her own room, and she wanted to work with dolphins. She had posters of them on her walls, and all of their stuffed animals were dolphins. One day, she went to the aquarium. She went with her 5th grade class, and since it was 3 days before her 10th birthday, she thought her friends would let her sit by the window on the bus. They didn't, and her friends got mad because she wouldn't blow them her lip gloss. It was new, it tasted like cream soda, and she didn't want to share. So her friend said that she couldn't walk with them. She got mad and went off to look at the penguins, which weren't dolphins, but looked pretty. A man tapped her on the shoulder and told her she needed to go find her class, that they were watching a movie. Oh, where? Movie. The man took her outside because her class was in the other building, the new one. She had seen it as she came in and had wondered why they put in a movie theater but not dolphins. Before they went outside, he gave her a baseball cap. Everyone got one. Yours is the only one left though, so it's too big. Better wrap your hair up. So the girl mashed her hair up under the hat so the hat wouldn't fall off. And went outside. That moment was when a little girl's world ended. Once upon a time, a little girl who lived at 623 Daisy Lane disappeared. "Who are you?" was the first thing Ray said to me after the aquarium. The first time I ever heard his real voice. "My name is Kyla Davis." He hit me when I answered. "Where do you live?" "I live at 623 Daisy Lane." I sniffed all the tears back up into my head. He hit me again, and it hurt more the second time. He leaned over and pinched my jaw shut. Good girls are quiet and grown-ups talk. What kind of girl are you? You'll come home? I'll come home. And that's when I knew I never would. And Alice whispered. According to Child Find of America, in stereotypical kidnappings, 86% of the perpetrators are male. And according to New York's Children's Health, about 2/3 of stranger abductions involve female children. This is sadly the case for Kyla. Kidnapped at the age of Ray got so angry. He took out a knife and made me sit on a chair in the corner of the living room. He tied me in a chair and left me there as the bleeding stopped. He wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't look at me. Food and water would stay. And it took me to the bathroom each morning and night. And one time, I stood up and blood dripped down my leg and onto the carpet. And he threw up. And then he rubbed my face in it. When the bleeding stopped, he made me scrub myself, the chair, the carpet all around it, and then he threw the chair out and gave me the pills. I will find him a beautiful little stupid girl, as dumb as the one at 623 Daisy Lane used to be. Ray has given me bus fare and told me the name of a park he wants me to go see. He tells me to remember everything. I get to the park and blink at all the people there. I look and see a girl there, and there, and over there. I grab a notebook, pick up a pencil. The first girl's blonde and a little chubby. A thumbsucker. Ray would like teaching her not to do that. I write down blonde and thumb. The other girls I see are both dark-haired like me. They would scream and kick, I can tell. Ray would like that too. I write, scream and kick. Have you seen my notebook? I see a girl standing in front of me. Notebook? It's green and has a frog on it. I found the seams and now it's not there. I soak my fingers over the cover of the notebook I wanted closed against my chest, tracing over the big frog sticker. It's my favorite. My dad gave it to me for my birthday. Oh. I snap the pencil in half. She gets up and goes over to the Sphinx. Anna. I have found Ray's new girl. I have found the new me. I think about her all the way home. How she will cry and scream and plead just like I did. It makes me smile. At home, Ray is tired and cranky and makes me step on the scale 3 times before I'm allowed dinner. Tell me about that. Patting his lap for me to sit down when I do. Pretty. They were pretty. He bends over and pushes my hair off my forehead. Crooked bangs he trimmed me because Alice has bangs. I make up outfits. Pretty little dresses with sashes and tiny white socks folded into delicate shoes. That was how he dressed me for years. Until the dresses streamed open across my hips and chest, until my arms came out straight red from the binding sleeves. I want him to take her tomorrow. I want that little girl here now, where I am. I want her to be Ray's love, to bear it. I don't care if he takes everyone and everything, every child from every place. I just want him to leave me. In the morning, Ray puts me in a shower and comes out of lather soap and rubs his hands across me. He opens the safe he keeps in his room, has the money. We'll be able to go somewhere nice. He smiles, big and fond, and rubs my chest, saying, remember how you used to be? I remember. We'll pack up, set a date together. Then I'll pick up Anna. I will get him Anna. I will go to the park and Ray will take her. He will show her what she must do. What happens if you don't listen, don't behave. I have a plan. When he's ready to go, I'll be gone. He
college, she plans to study business and communications after high school. We are so proud of you, Elena. At this time, please hold up your questionnaires, those little blue sheets that you might have been filling out, and our students will come around and collect them and try and find our winner.
Yeah. You all set? Yes. Okay. Here you go. Should I give it a second to put on? Because I know it's not. Should I just go? Okay. As we do that, we welcome our final performer of the night, Senior Morgan Catlin. Morgan has been a booming competitor in both humorous and duo interpretation. In humor, Morgan earned top ranks and top placements at nearly every tournament this season, crowning herself the champion of our Stowe tournament and 5th place at our Eastern Ohio National qualifying tournament. Get ready to cry tears of laughter at her piece, Serial Mom. Please note that this piece contains adult language and comedic violence.
Who wants fruit salad? I please. Missy, that's not gum in your mouth, is it? You know I hate gum.
Sorry, Mom. Oh, hey, Chip. Think I can get 50 cents for vanilla ice?
I wouldn't give you a nickel. Carl can't believe how much I made at swap meets. Oh, who's Carl?
Oh, boy.
Oh, but he's picking me up this morning. He's really cute. She sure can pick him. Oh, leave her alone, Chip. Oh, look at this. Hillside Strangler gets college degree in prison.
Oh, that's nice.
He killed people, Mom. Well, we all have our bad days. Cereal, anybody? Chip? Oh, Chip, your mom's going to PTA today. We'll see what your teacher has to say. Oh, Mom, I hate Mr. Stubbins. Honey, hate is a very serious word.
Miss something. I'm Detective Moore, and this is Detective Bradford. What's the trouble, officers? We're investigating obscene phone calls you mailed to certain Miss Diane Hinkle.
Could you look at this? I should warn you, this note contains
Language.
Oh, look, officers, I would have never said this word out loud, much less written it down. No woman would. Well, thanks for your time, everybody. That sure was Beaver Cleaver letter.
Oh, leave her alone. Miss Sutton's about as normal and nice a lady as we're gonna get.
Hello? Is this the big weenie residence? And stop calling me! The police are tracing your call right this minute! Well, Daddy, how come they're not here then? Oh, damn you!
Okay, so like, does anyone want to go out after this tournament? Like, we could do whatever. I'm down for whatever. We could see a movie, we could get dinner, we could kill someone. Huh? Oh, we could go on a picnic. That's so cute for spring. Someone else who is down for whatever is quintessential PTA, mom next door, Miss Beverly Sutton. But don't let her curls and pearls fool you. Beverly has a secret. She may have a thing for murder. Serious murder. And anyone who crosses her family will feel the wrath of Serial Mom by John Waters. Miss Stuffin, right here. Miss Stuffin, I'm Paul Stubbins, Chip's math teacher. How does he? Chip is off to a fine start this year. Focused, conscientious. There is one big problem though. His unhealthy obsession with horror films. Well, he is the assistant manager of a video shop. Without no excuse for morbid imagination. Is there something going on at home? Or an alcoholic relative? Certainly not! You're doing something wrong, Miss Sutton. Thank you for taking the time to come to PTA today. Oh, Mom, I hate Mr. Stubbins. I do brain 10 pounds will take you to the University of Maryland Fall Mixer. Carl's a jerk. Carl makes me happy, and that threatens his family, doesn't it? You're too hot to shit. Oh, shit! You know how much I hate the brown word. Beverly! Beverly! That's Rosemary. Beverly! Turn on the news! A teacher at your school has been murdered! Mr. Stubbins! Mr. Stubbins! That's my math teacher! Doo-doo-doo. Police claim the driver of the hit-and-run vehicle ran over the body in cold blood, then backed up over the body again and finished off the job. I can't believe Mr. Stubbins is dead! Mom, I'm stood up. I'll kill that bastard Carl. Honey, don't say things unless you mean them. It's the police. Hello, officers. Miss Sutton, I presume you heard of the death of Mr. Stubbins. What a mess! Did you happen to drive your car to the PTA meeting yesterday, Miss Sutton? Well, detective, surely you don't think Beverly was involved. I have somebody you could run over, Mother. Misty! Detectives, it's time for you to leave! Oh, look at this jacket. I hate it. Misty, lighten up. It's not my fault Carl stood you up. Mom! Oh, Carl, please! For my little knick-knack shelf. Rub one up, little lady. Oh, Misty, I made a killing. Look at this jacket. Mom, it's Carl. He's dead. Oh, well, that's horrible, honey, but you got your wish. I didn't wish that. I didn't want him dead. Chip, our mother is Charles Manson. I'm not kidding. Carl stood me up this morning and then he was murdered at the flea market. Dr. Sutton, there's who takes the door for you. Dr. Sutton is your wife a big reader? Oh, well, burn books, mostly. Like these ones we found in garbage. Urge to Kill, Mass Murder in Houston. Oh, I'm sure those are my son's books. No, they're your wife's. She bought them out the Browse and Learn bookshop, along with a few other titles. Help Skelter, Pet Humans. This is ridiculous! Dr. Sutton, is your wife mental? Blessed be God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Most merciful God, we confess our sins unto thee, so that we may delight in thy will. This is Captain Johnson from homicide. Lab force confirmed. Suspect fingerprints match those prints left off murder weapons. Bingo, boys. Bust the bitch. Come on, Mom. Do you think I need a lawyer? You need an agent. Quiet in the courtroom. Shh. Court is now in session. Oh, my. Hello, jury people. My name's Beverly Sutton. Oh, honey, you cannot wear white after Labor Day. Miss Sutton, I said quiet! You're being accused of mass murder. This is a courtroom, not a coffee flash. Your Honor, I have a motion. I would like to fire my attorney and defend myself. Okay. Jury, look at me. I'm a normal person just like you all are, but I've been framed by the police. And perjured against the very people I thought to be my friends. All that I ask is that you find me innocent of these terrible, terrible charges. Jury, have we come to a decision? We find the defendant
not guilty of all charges. We did it. We set her free. I knew she was innocent from the beginning. Oh, how did you know we're white after Labor Day? What? No, that's not true anymore. Oh, yes, it is. Didn't your mother ever tell you? But fashion has changed. Oh. No, it hasn't. The only cereal I know is Rice Krispies.
Just give me that. Oh, I have to do her after. But, after thing. It's not on now, but I know it. Okay. After high school, Morgan plans to attend Akron University to study music education. Good luck, Morgan.
And Morgan, don't go too far. I'm going to jump back on stage, and Joey, if you want to come up as well. We just want to take a second to recognize our seniors. If you guys want to stand here for a second. We're not going to do anything crazy. We cried at the banquet. It's fine. But I just want to introduce them to you one more time. I want to give them a huge congratulations. We have had these students, some of them since 7th grade, and we've had them a long time, and they have been a huge, huge, huge part of our program and growing the progress, growing the success, and really influencing and encouraging other students to join this team. So we're just very proud of them. And we have a little token for them now to prelude to our banquet celebrations. But if you would please give Joey, Maddie, Morgan, and Elena a round of applause. We're going to get to some of our winners now.
Okay, cool.
Now we have some raffles that we're announcing. It's time to find out who our 50-50 winner is, if we have that. The winning total for the 50-50 is $28. And we have that bag. Melena, do you want to draw that?
Sure, draw a ticket. I'm drawing it. These are the blue tickets. The 50-50 was the blue tickets. Okay.
The number on that is 759358. Please see Kayla in the back.
Joey's coming around delivering them.
Joey is going to be delivering them.
Along with Molly and Morgan.
And Molly and Morgan. We have so much help up here. And then...
And finally, our winner for great listening ears and success with our questionnaire winning 200...
Let's do these first. Let's do the rest of these first. The rest of the raffles.
Okay, they're around here. Okay.
Yeah, let's do the rest of the raffles. So we have a $50 gift card to the tattoo parlor.
We're doing the rest of the raffles.
Draw a ticket.
This is the tattoo parlor.
This is the tattoo parlor.
The white tickets.
White tickets. 4965986. Who's getting a tattoo?
Read the last 3 again.
4965986.
Oh, we have one!
Next up we have, I don't know what's next.
So the Amish Country Theater gets 2 because we have 2 of these.
All right, so we have,
So we draw 2 tickets.
we're drawing 2 tickets for the Amish Country Theater. Oh, Melana, do you want to?
Sure. All right, these are white tickets.
So we have 4965946. The last 3 of those. Oh! Okay. And then 4965841. 841. Perfect. Fantastic. All right. We'll have some people delivering those, and then next.
They ran off with the bags with the tickets, so give me a second.
Okay, this is for the AutoZone bucket. Four 96549.
This is 2 passes of a $30 value to the Stan Hewitt Halls and Gardens. The number for that is 4965922. All right, we have
This is for the $25 Giant Eagle gift card. We have 4965945.
And then we have a Fandango gift card for $50 for Movie Basket. That number is 4965945. 945. Oh, is that the same number? Whoops. All right. Sorry about that. 4965813.
That's the last one, actually.
This is the last one. All right.
Okay, and this is for 4 tickets of $68 in value to the National Museum of the Great Lakes. This one is 4965951. It's Jake! Yay!
He deserves it. After all these years dealing with us, he deserves that.
We love you, Jake. Have fun at the museum. Okay. And finally, our winner for great listening ears and success with our questionnaire, winning $280 for a day of winter fun at Snow Trails is Calicifer Hale. Woo! Have fun skiing! Okay, thank you all so much for joining us at our state qualifier and senior showcase. It was truly fantastic having everyone to support our talented students. We hope you had a great time and look forward to seeing you at future events. Thank you again to our sponsors, our coaches, our judges, our parents, and everyone who helped make this possible for us. Have a great evening, and thank you.
And that was the 2025 Speech and Debate Showcase. I hope you enjoyed everything tonight. It was a great time, and I know I enjoyed it myself. So thank you for joining us tonight. We had a great time, like I said, and we'll see you in a gymnasium or stadium near you. This is Rob Johnson with the Spotlight Media Network. Till next time, everybody, have a great night.